that we bring into you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down, this the time to move around. No Gimmicks podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring. This is the time for no gimmicks, no, we doing our thing. What's your state of mind, state of mind? Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar, the F5, no gimmicks. We take you to your limit, what's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on, that's the time. Guarantee we move, you know how we respond. The state design, the state design when we feel it.
Yo. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN. We're back with episode 67. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 66 last week. It was a great show. We got another good show for you guys tonight. Before we jump in there, shout out to our sponsor, Cons Custom Creations. Follow her on IG at cons_custom creations, or look for Cons Custom Creations on Facebook. Get you some custom made merch. Shout out to the Dat Feelin family, datfeelin.bandcamp.com. Make sure you guys go tune in to them. Shout out to E. Smitty as well. He has surgery. Get well soon, brother. Heal, and hope to see you getting back in the lab real soon. But shout out to them. $3 will get you the entire Dat Feelin catalog. And if you are listening to the sounds of our voices and not looking at us live, patreon.com/Dat Feelin podcast. As little as $3, you can interact with us live, tune into the live show, get your comments read and interacted with live on the air, and you will also make the show. So Dat Feelin podcast at patreon.com/Dat Feelin podcast. Now to my co-host, Frank D, the chosen one. What is up, buddy?
Brother, it's the same shit, I should say. Same shit, different day. But we're back here. We're back to talk about professional wrestling.
Yep. Let's talk some pro wrestling. Fair warning, I am fresh off a plane. So I'm kind of tired. So if I flub around today, just know I've been traveling the past week. I've been traveling since we did the last episode. I pretty much did that episode, went and packed my stuff and got on the road. So I'm back home, and this is the first thing I'm doing. So bear with me tonight. But let's jump into the show. First and foremost, there was a lot of talk about this past Monday. Following up from the past Friday, we had Cody versus Roman in a one-on-one, asking pretty much, can you guys trust each other's partners? Fast forward to Monday, we get Cody pretty much going over that event. Then we get The Rock coming out. But the people are saying this is one of the best Raws we've had in a long time. I'm kind of on that same boat, but a lot of this stuff that we're going to talk about happened on Raw. But Cody versus The Rock, man. The Rock, unadvertised, makes an appearance. Crowd, for a heel, the crowd lost their fucking minds for heel work, right? But he comes out, doesn't say a word on the microphone, looks at Cody, Seth whispers something. He's very good at this stuff, which we find out later he's gonna get beat down. What did you think of this interaction?
I mean, I thought it was perfect. I mean, Cody was talking about pointing to the WrestleMania sign, and then all of a sudden The Rock's music hit, and out comes the great one. And yes, he got a good pop when he came out there. That was quickly drowned out by booze. And The Rock loved every bit of it. The Rock whispered something into Cody's ear, which I believe he may have said, "Tonight you're going to bleed," or "Tonight I'm going to make you bleed," or something like that. And he walked off. And then, that's the hook. Like, why is The Rock here? Why is The Rock coming out, not advertised to be on the show? And take note, AEW. that is how you do something like that. That's
Yep.
how you do a segment, and that's going to keep people hooked on to the show to find out what's going to happen. Because you don't know why The Rock is there. Rock usually comes out very flamboyant and charismatic, and comes out there and does his spiel, does his usual, his shtick. That didn't happen here. He
Change
came
of
out,
pace. Change of
just
pace.
stood there, and what's funny about this segment? I was thinking about it when I was watching it because of the significance of where they were at. So they were in the what do they call it now? The Allstate Arena or some shit in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that was originally it was the Rosemont Horizon, but um, and of course, that building they're in has very significant history for professional wrestling, going all the way back to the '80s.
yep.
They also had WrestleMania 13 in that building when The Undertaker beat Sid for the championship. Um, but the significance I'm talking about here with this promo with Cody and The Rock was that if you remember in February of 2002 when the NWO came back, Hulk Hogan and The Rock stood right there in the middle of that ring in that same building, and The Rock challenged Hogan to go to WrestleMania.
Yep.
And then Rocky got his ass whooped that night and got spray painted and took him outside, and the whole ambulance thing happened with the NWO. The rest is history. Fast forward now to 2024, same scenario. Cody's in the ring, and The Rock's out there, but this time The Rock is the older lion versus the young lion here. And Rocky didn't say a word. He just went over there, like I said, and whispered and left the building, or we thought he left the building.
Right. Now, that interaction was, I was like, holy shit. For him not saying nothing, he said a lot. He just came out, put his hands out, put him behind his back in a non threatening way, and then threatened him and then walked the fuck off.
Right. Because he said something, and Cody,
you could see Cody react to it.
yeah. So
Like, what?
he said something, and then also Jimmy and Solo weren't advertised either to be there.
Right, right.
So was it an initiation into the bloodline? Was it the final test? Kind of like when you're playing a video game and you got the boss fights and you didn't beat the final boss. And a lot of the things about this program that really just sets it apart from, once again, AEW. And I'm going to keep saying AEW because they're the closest, quote unquote, competition to the WWF. So
Okay.
in AEW, you have wrestlers who constantly use the language. All the time use the language. So when you have something like this in WWE where you're hearing the language being used, they mute it, But the fact that they're using it sets them apart from everybody else because they're using it when it's necessary. They're using it to bring out some type of real emotion in the situation. So I think it's helped tremendously where they're taking these pot shots at one another. It just brings a level of realness to the product that hasn't been there for a while. And they use language. AEW they're always they've been throwing around shit since they've been there, since they've been on the network. They've been throwing around shit,
Right.
F bombs and all that. We've heard this stuff before, but when it happens in WWE, because you don't hear it, it's not used very often. It has so much more meaning.
I agree with that, but also I want them to also keep in mind don't do this a lot either. Right?
Well,
because you'll get to a point where it's just like AEW. It's not meaningful anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, The Rock is going to do what The Rock does.
That, but again, if we get that a lot from The Rock, then it's not going to be as meaningful when he does it.
Well, I mean,
like there was a couple things on that show that I was like, holy shit, they actually went there. Like the cursing is one, but the cursing I understood because, and they were very smart with what time they actually did the heaviest of it, right? So 10:01 is when the Rock started really laying into the curse words. Why? Because at 10:01 is the overrun. The overrun is into another show's time slot. That time slot doesn't have the PG rating. I've talked about this. I've talked about this in a previous show where like you mute out all these curses or the holy shits during the show, but right afterwards, people are dropping F bombs. Right? Right after the show goes off, people are dropping F bombs. They were really smart about letting The Rock go off the chain at 10:01. At 10:01, he started really laying. If you go back and watch, he started really laying into the curse words. That's why, because they don't have the PG rating at that time. He can say pretty much whatever the fuck he wants to say, and like nobody can really come after him because it's the overrun and it's in another time slot. That was a really smart move by them. But if I'm doing that, I kind of want to lay off of that because unless it's in that time slot, like, okay, cool. But otherwise, let it have that meaning to where I get this degree of realism because I agree with you. That was, it set it apart for WWE to be able to do that, and even the blood for them to do that, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot that they did that. But again, even the blood came after the 10 o'clock spot. You didn't see Cody actually bleed until they were in the overrun, which was very smart by them.
Yeah, I mean, you could be onto something there as far as but once again, they're muting the f bombs. So
Right, right.
so it's like I mean, he's saying it, but it's not. I actually posted on the No Gimmicks fan page that uncensored audio of inside the arena, so you actually can see what was going on here,
And the
and
fans heard it.
the fans heard it and they were like, "Whoa!" But everybody
Yeah,
liked it because they couldn't believe that this was happening.
exactly.
And you heard people saying this is legendary, but like I said before, it's something different, something that you don't normally see all the time when you're
Right,
watching WWE programming, as opposed to AEW where you see it all the time, and
right,
it just means more over here than it does over there because they don't do it. They went for, I mean, back in the Attitude Era, this was I mean, they didn't drop f bombs in the Attitude Era, but this was a weekly occurrence that all this stuff would happen all the time on different shows. Now, fast forward, it doesn't happen. And that's why it meant so much more in the gist of it because now we're seeing a little bit of realness. Like Cody came
right,
out and talked, and it's like The Rock said, you come out and you think I'm gonna let you talk shit for 2 weeks and not do anything about it.
right.
And then he says, "Oh, Chicago, you did you had a problem with The Rock. You said The Rock didn't say much. Well, does Rock have your attention now? You pieces of shit." You know,
Yeah, yeah. And like just going in, he went in. He went in on him. And what I really liked about that, because you kind of got a hard times promo from Cody without getting a hard times promo from Cody. Like, I'm reaching out my hand. Will you come with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got that from Cody. And then for The Rock to come out and say, you think you have hard times? This ain't hard times. The Rock is going to show you hard times. I was like, that's good because I caught it. Like, we got the hard times promo, kind of, just for The Rock to say, nah, this ain't hard times at all. I'm about to show you hard times. I really like that whole thing was very well done. Very well done. The fact that we didn't know that The Rock was going to be there, and then we think he left, but he beats down Cody at the end. That's how we end Raw.
and
Very
that
well done.
and that's how it should have ended. You
Yeah,
know, that's
yeah.
exactly
Couldn't end it another
they,
way.
they did it correctly. And I've never since watching The Rock, I have never seen this level of evilness.
He's menacing without
from
even
The Rock.
trying.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen this. Like, this is something. This is not your typical heel Rock. This
Mm-mm.
is something different.
Yes.
This is basically. I mean, Rocky is pretty much like, I would say, can't put my finger on it, but he's basically a horror movie, or you know, a sinister boss come to light. You know,
Right.
he's on a whole different level right now. You know,
Yeah.
when it comes to like just Rock, he he's given us something that we've never seen before. Rock says all the time, sit back and enjoy the ride the Rock is going to take you on, because we haven't seen it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's been a long
Right.
time since we've seen something like this happen.
Right. And the guy, I got to give him credit, man. The guy he's putting a lot of eyes on the product right now. A lot of eyes on the product, and WWE, for their credit, has done a very good job of capitalizing on it.
I agree. Let's just hope they don't fumble it at WrestleMania night too.
Yeah, that payoff has to be everything. It has to be.
Yeah,
Has to be everything.
I agree.
But speaking of which, let's go into this one. Seth, CM Punk, Drew. So we got CM Punk. It was in Chicago. CM Punk, we're learning, is going to be commentating on WrestleMania. Then we got the promo with him. Drew comes out on his man. Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is right now, for him to be inserted, because it's like a very big web that they've all weaved with them, the bloodline, Seth, Cody. There's repercussions everywhere for everybody. For him to be inserted into this scenario, and the way he's holding his end as a threat to Seth's title, and the reason that he wants Seth's title, makes complete sense. Like, I can't disagree with anything Drew McIntyre is saying. I can't. It makes me want him to win.
Yeah, I mean, it comes off very, even though he's a heel, it comes off
He's
very
spitting facts.
baby face.
Yeah.
And the best heel has always been the heel that believes what they're doing is right.
Yep.
That's the best villain you have. That
Yep.
he's not a villain. You know, I'm doing what I believe is necessary. I'm doing right, and I get that from him. And then you
Yep.
have, you know, Seth Rollins, who's been interjected into the Roman Reigns Rock situation, and it just feels like to me that up until Monday night with that segment with CM Punk, there wasn't a lot of heat with the World Heavyweight Championship match. Like, no one gave a shit about that because everybody's focused on the tag match and everybody's focused on the Rock
Right.
and Roman Reigns and
Right.
Cody. So, you know, inserting CM Punk into this situation and having him do something at WrestleMania, I think it did wonders. And on top of that, that was one of the highest, if not the highest rated segment on that whole show.
Right.
Because it had no ad breaks. It was just, you know, they played it through. And the wrestlers were given pretty much bullet points on what you need to talk about, and they winged it from there. You know?
And that makes good television.
Correct. You would damn near think that the way they were, there was legitimate heat between all three of these guys, when obviously there's not, because
Right.
they're back there. They're obviously, they went over this before they came out there. So okay, let's just go out there and wing it and let's do some magic. And I'm pretty sure they all were happy with the way that segment ended and the amount of eyeballs that came to their product because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious when you know, Brandon Thurston in his ratings release here, how the other segments fared after Punk, Drew, and Seth. Because this segment here picked up, I think they said, you know, 2 point something million viewers, which they normally don't get. And I kind of wonder what it did as opposed to Rock Cody ending segment on Raw.
Right. And like we talked about this before the show. I thought this Raw in particular, was a very good paced show that I actually could sit down and digest. And I can't say that about any other Raw in the 3-hour era. I can't. But for me to sit down and watch all 3 hours of this show, and I'd been traveling, so that I watched it in a hotel room. But for me to sit down and watch this show, all 3 hours of it, spoke volumes about how good it was. Because I was like, oh shit. Like I could actually follow the show. It made sense. Even the stuff that I would normally not be invested in, like Ricochet Ivar, normally I wouldn't give a fuck about that match. But I found myself watching it and like, okay, this is actually, I'm actually entertained by it. The show had variety, is what I'm saying. Like you had good segments. You had a spot fest match, which Ricochet Ivar was a spot fest match. It was like a buffet. You had the women, you had good segments from both Rock, Cody, Seth, Punk, Drew. Like you had all of this stuff in this one show, but it for 3 hours I could sit down and watch it.
Didn't Ricochet wrestle JD?
Oh, I'm sorry, JD McDonough. My bad.
Yeah,
my bad. But again, good match. It was a good match, which can't really say that about it any other time. You know what I'm saying? Like I normally see it and be like pass, but I was entertained, highly entertained, and they kept inserting shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if anybody else saw this, but there's a backstage segment where it's Truth and somebody, but in the background,
Awesome Truth.
Yeah, in the background, Drew's talking to Paul Heyman in the background.
Right, and that's another thing too that Roman Reigns' character should be concerned about. The fact that the wise man is there, you're not there. So why is the wise man there? Well, because the wise man is the Rock's wise man.
Exactly.
So
and even the beat down, there was a car outside, lights on. Who was in there?
Oh, I just think that car happened to be parked there.
Think so?
Yeah, that car just happened to be parked there.
Because they say everything's done with the purpose.
Yeah, just like people are saying, everything's done with a purpose. They're talking about the trucks that were outside. Okay, let's make this very clear. Those trucks that were outside, the one with John Cena and Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you look further on the truck, Trish Stratus is on the truck as well. You guys do realize those are the same trucks that they've been using, right?
That's why I didn't mention them.
Yeah, they're the same. They've been using these trucks. They're like, the special WrestleMania edition. They're not WrestleMania edition trucks.
No,
they've been using those.
I'm not as concerned with the trucks as I was with the car.
Well, I saw the trucks when I went to SmackDown last year, so it's the same trucks they've been using. But people say, "Oh, well, that's obvious. They're going to have involved John Cena and Stone Cold because they're on those trucks, and no WWE doesn't do anything for." The hell are you talking about? They did a segment outside, and the trucks are parked there because once the show's over, they got to put the fucking equipment somewhere, right? In the truck.
In the trucks.
But whatever. That's like Dave Meltzer getting a video of a segment that happened between The Rock and Triple H years ago with Seth McMahon. And
oh my God!
Reporting it as news of something that just happened in Las Vegas at the WrestleMania.
This happened in 2024.
Yeah,
no, exactly.
It didn't. But why does Triple H and The Rock look younger in that video? And why is Seth McMahon there? Why is it backstage? Fucktard.
People. Fucking people. Gotta let it go, man. Gotta let it go. Because it needs to be done. It needs to be done in the ring, actually. Which I don't think we'll ever see Triple H in the ring again.
No, that's not going to happen. I think Triple H is put his wrestling career behind him. It's just not going to happen. It's too risky to even do that.
Yeah.
I think him and Rock are going to have some type of a showdown in the ring, face to face, when Triple H is going to try to think he can tell The Rock what to do, but The Rock is going to reiterate, "I am the final boss." So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that eventually.
I hope so. Because this story kind of needs it. But speaking of the story, does it feel like Roman's being overshadowed to you?
I said this a few weeks ago right here on the show. The Rock comes out there alone by himself without the bloodline. He stands apart from the bloodline, and they just look like, I don't know what they look like.
Well, not even that. Well, now because we talked about this earlier in the show, Jimmy and Solo are there with The Rock. The
Right.
wise man's there with The Rock. Where is Roman?
I don't know, but people say, well, is The Rock taking Roman's spotlight? And I'm like, well, you can't really take the spotlight of somebody who was never there.
This
So
is true.
if The Rock comes in there and gets Roman's spotlight, well, you're never there, bro. So is it really that difficult and hard for someone to take your spotlight when you're never there and you know that you're going to have sporadic appearances on the programming? And besides that, haven't seen The Rock in so long, coming back full time a little bit, not full time, but you know what I mean, making all these appearances. Yeah, that I mean, is Rock being over? Yeah, is Roman being overshadowed? The Rock, absolutely, because The Rock is a bigger star than Roman Reigns. Rock is people need to understand something. The Rock is on a different plane because The Rock is a Hollywood elite celebrity that just happens to be in professional wrestling.
Right.
So of course he's going to be bigger than anybody there, including the tribal chief. It is what it is.
I agree with that. It's gonna be hard because he is like the number one action star in Hollywood. He's the most paid man in Hollywood. And he spent years working on that. The Rock is a brand. Not even The Rock. Dwayne Johnson is a brand. So if Dwayne Johnson goes to the WWE, he's a recognizable face, and he's a recognizable face as The Rock. Like, he's endearing to wrestling fans, and he's a crossover star.
And that's what I meant earlier when I said The Rock is on a different level than everybody else. So,
but even that, man, it's like The Rock, since he's come back, he has shown us the difference between, and I don't want to say like attitude era stars, but stars of his magnitude and the current ones. He's shown us the difference.
Oh, there's some competition here.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's night and fucking day, man. It's night and day. And
it's night and day when you have The Rock out there and then you have CM Punk out there as well, because CM Punk is a student of the ruthless aggression era.
Right.
Anytime you bring any of these people back and they just go out there and they shine over everybody else.
Right.
Right. And that's just, I mean, CM Punk on Monday proved why he's one of the best talkers in the business. And said, and I quote, "My 10-year absence, I'm going to do something at WrestleMania that's never been done. And the 10 years I've been gone, I'm going to make you both look interesting." So there you go.
Yeah. And yeah, that's crazy because he did. In that one segment, he made them both. He made that whole scene both interesting. Now there's something to watch.
Yep, now the match has something going into it. Yep. Especially now you add the wild card here of what was Drew McIntyre talking to Paul Heyman about.
Exactly.
So, you got that going on too.
Yep. So there, like I said, there's a lot that they're doing right now that I like, because we haven't seen this in a while. We haven't seen this in a while where you have multiple characters on that television that have meaning. There's meaning there. So
yeah, I mean, it's not
hope
perfect.
They stick with that.
It's not perfect,
no, it's not. But it's a start. It's a start.
Yeah, yeah. They have a direction of what they're going into, unlike other people. But
yeah, it's a really nice start, and it's a really nice time to start it because you're going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree.
So hell yeah. I like the direction that they're going in. But as far as Roman, man, it's like what am I missing out of this whole story? Because the main event of night number 2 is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Why am I not interested in this match? I'm not. If you want my honest opinion, which this is what we do on No Gimmicks, I am not interested in this match. To me, it's a foregone conclusion. Unless you are setting me up for an epic turn of epic proportions. I already know the outcome of this match, man. I don't really need it. Like I'm more interested in what happens night 1, which will lead me into night 2. I know Cody Rhodes is going to win. I know this. The
We don't
question
we
is
don't know.
how. That's the question. How is he going to win? And really, if we do it this way, night number 1 is going to determine night number 2, the how of night number 2. And if I'm just like thinking on it really really hard, I say Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins will lose night number 1. So we get bloodline rules. It has to be that way. Almost. But if you wanted it to be interesting, let them win night number 1.
I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion
I
that
think so.
they're going to win night number 1, and that will open up the whole field to no bloodline members. Okay, now keep in mind of that right there what I just said. No bloodline members. So anybody else who comes out there can interfere in that match. It doesn't have to necessarily be a part of the bloodline. So it's obviously okay. Who would come out there and assist here? Well,
What if it's Drew?
you got Jey Uso,
Yeah, you got Jay.
you got Drew McIntyre, you got a Seth Rollins turning heel possibly, you got
Possibly.
a Tama Tonga, you got Jacob
Yeah.
Fatu. So it seems like they got all their bases covered here. We just got to see the way this thing plays out.
Right. Yeah. Speaking on it like that, it's like, well, now I don't know. Now I don't know. I think I know, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't really know what's gonna happen. And I like that I don't really know. Because them winning, Seth and Cody winning does make this interesting.
No, I agree.
And it's pretty much easy to say Rock and Roman win, you get the bloodline rule, and something happens within that realm. Somebody's gonna turn. And if it's somebody that I'm thinking, it's Cody.
I've been saying it for a while now, but I believe that this is setting up Cody to turn heel. And last Monday, Cody passed the final test.
Yes.
And I swear I believe that this is all going to play out at Mania. Now, how are we going to get there? I don't know. But
no, I don't know.
We're going to get it because the way that should happen, the way it went down, it's like The Rock had to test this dude, gave him the final test, you pass it. It's like, okay, phase 1 was Jimmy. Phase 2 was Solo. Phase 3, this is The Rock. It's like playing a video game.
Yep.
You got the boss, the final boss fight, right? And Cody got his ass handed to him.
On a silver platter. I like it. It was brutal. I like it.
Yeah, it's one of the best beatdowns I've seen in a minute. So
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it myself.
You thought, huh, boy?
Yeah, look at you now.
Look at you now, boy.
And I kind of like, when he's out there doing this, I'm like, man, this kind of reminds me of Scarface when he kept saying, "Look at you now." He, Rock had that kind of Tony Montana, kind of shit going on there. So
yep. Look at you now. Oh, Oh, and when he took him outside, he was like, "Oh, look at this."
Yeah. He said, "Oh, look at this. Yeah, look at this. The prophecy has been fulfilled. Look at this.
Oh man.
The prophecy has been fulfilled."
I wanna inject something in here. What if, and this is a what if, because there's been some reports, I don't know how true this is, might have to get this confirmed. Cody does need help. What if that help is coming in the form of MJF?
I've seen this, and I don't believe it.
I don't believe this either, but MJF has been removed from the roster.
Yes, and he was removed from the roster before, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so then that's what I'm saying. Like, because you bring up something here that I was watching earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and Conan said, "How do you know that we're not being worked here?"
We don't know. And I
Yeah,
love that we don't
yeah,
know.
it's like Conan says, it kind of feels like we're being worked.
Yo, when you get the people in the industry, like, I don't know if I'm being worked or not. Like, that's good shit, man. That's some
Yeah,
good shit. Cause I don't know either. I don't know. But I like that I don't know.
yeah. It's like I don't. I could have swore MJF had re-signed with AEW. So that's what I'm getting at. Like, I'm not exactly sure here of what's going on, but I believe that he's still in a contract with AEW. I don't see him showing up here. There's a possibility that you could possibly see Dustin Rhodes show up
Yeah.
and help out Cody, because I'm not sure of his contractual obligations to AEW, but I just don't see MJF showing up. I think MJF is taking some time off. Obviously, he's banged up, taking some time off, and I think that we'll see him once he's healed up, because he has a built-in program with Adam Cole.
Mm.
So I don't know. I just don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either, but again, I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in wrestling right now that I don't know, and I like that I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it keeps it interesting. Play these fucking dirt sheets for all they're worth so I can enjoy this shit.
Oh, they ain't worth nothing.
Exactly. Keep playing them. I don't want to know. Thank you. Make wrestling interesting again.
I mean, he's already done that. That's all The Rock. The Rock
Yeah.
has made professional wrestling interesting again.
He touts it every time. Pro wrestling is cool again.
Pro wrestling's best heel. That's what he said.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you want to give me something to chew on, give me MJF and The Rock in a promo. If that is the case.
Oh, Rock would destroy him in a promo.
I know, but I want to see it.
Yeah. He would
I want to see that.
Yeah, he would literally destroy him in a promo. It's not even any competition.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
if you want to see how good MJF is on the mic, give me MJF and The Rock. Fuck it.
Yeah, there's just no comparison. None whatsoever. But that would be kind of interesting, though. I mean, they would be throwing some live rounds, but
oh yeah, there would be some. Yeah, it'd be
I
some
mean,
live
if you want to do a real program segment like that, then you would involve MJF, The Rock, and CM Punk.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's what that's where my mind's at.
I like it. But there are some prospects. So Cody is, if this is the plan going forward, if he does need help, I do think there are a couple of people from AEW that are on their way out the door.
Okay, on their way out the door, and not being under contract is two different things.
Well, I mean, by on their way out the door, I do mean not going to be on the contract
Well,
soon.
that I mean, WrestleMania is next week, so I don't see any people from AEW interfering in this. I don't see it.
I don't. The only person that and this would have to be a maybe, would be Dustin.
Yeah, and that's
that is the biggest one.
Yeah, that's the only one that I can see interfering here. But anybody else, like MJF or Ricky Starks, no, I don't see it.
Okay, I like it, but again, I don't know. But how are we feeling about Mania? Does Mania look like, if you take the bloodline out, the only other match that I'm really interested in Mania is Gunther and whoever he's facing.
Isn't he facing Sami Zayn?
Yes.
So, I mean, there you go. And that's once again another far gone conclusion of who's going to win the match, because I think they're going to continue Gunther's streak of him not losing the championship.
I want to say that, but also I wouldn't mind Gunther losing and then going after the World Heavyweight Championship.
I wouldn't mind Gunther winning and going after the World Heavyweight Championship.
I wouldn't mind that either,
because I think it's better. It's a
I
better
wouldn't mind that
scenario
either.
of the Intercontinental Champion now chasing the World Champion.
Yep.
So I think that would be kind of. I think that's a more interesting story, because okay, you just lost. So how are you going for the world title when you just lost?
It's true.
See that? Yeah, that right there. That makes it. Now he can say, "Listen, I'm done playing around here. I am the Intercontinental Champion, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, and I'm putting out a challenge right now to the World Heavyweight Champion." So at that
I like
point,
that idea better.
I could see Gunther holding two titles.
Which he said he'd be willing to do.
So see about that shit. This guy holding.
Yeah, I like that idea better.
Yeah.
I like that way better, because if he's chasing and he's champion, like, the guy has it. He just has it. And he's starting to look the part too. You're starting to see Gunther more in suits and carrying himself to a higher level than the Intercontinental Championship. But in doing that, he's making that title look pretty fucking great while he's doing this. So I would love to see him win and then go after that championship.
I think that's what we're going to see, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, it just makes more sense. I wouldn't job him out. I think, and as far as what we were talking about a second ago, we say, okay, how's WrestleMania looking right now? WrestleMania without The Rock and the Bloodline story, and it would be looking like shit, to be honest with you, because there's nothing on that show that's really grabbing my attention other than the tag match and the world title, both world title matches. There's nothing else on the show. I'm not invested really in Jimmy versus Jay, like I thought I would be, because they have gone so long without giving that a proper story.
Right, the build isn't great.
Build. Like, yeah, okay, so we're supposed to. So basically, you got betrayed back in August at SummerSlam, and now we're building to the match. I said this before previously on this podcast.
They needed to do something
the archives on Spotify and wherever else you get your wrestling podcast fixes. I said this, that they should have waited longer in the year for this betrayal to happen.
You definitely did.
And now it doesn't mean as much because they've had limited interaction, and the promo that they had where Jay was talking about how much he misses him and all this other it just kind of rang hollow to me because it's just there's no heat to this match. There's no build to it. And it shouldn't be that way. It's like two brothers for the first time ever in WWE history. These two brothers are going to wrestle each other at WrestleMania. They're going to do the match of a lifetime, a dream match they've wanted to do, and they're going to finally do it. And there's no heat.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, for them, it's probably still great because it is a dream. But I'm agreeing with you there. You called it. You said they should have held off because I think they started at SummerSlam, and you said they should have held off to at least Survivor Series, which
Yep.
I think that was the best call to make.
When the way I would have booked, I don't mean to cut you off, but the way I would have booked this would have been basically Jay would have had some type of an important match going on, and Jimmy would have cost him the match, and then Jay would have been injured or something in that match, took some time off, then Jimmy Uso is number 1 in the Rumble match, and then at number 2 would have been Jay. And you bring Jay out, and now you have the first face-to-face with these two. And now you have Jay throwing Jimmy over the top rope and eliminating him from the Royal Rumble. Jimmy's pissed off because now you just cost me a shot. And now you have Jay wrestling for the IC belt, and Jimmy's returning the favor. I'm costing you the Intercontinental Championship. But in reality, this was Jay getting revenge on Jimmy for Jimmy turning on him at SummerSlam and costing him the world title match with Roman. So that's kind of way. If I was booking it, I would have done it that way. You know.
Nice. And it would have made sense. And would have gave us something to really get behind. Like, I'm not mad at this match, but I'm with you. There's no build to it. There was the build was there, and then you killed it, and then you came back to it. And there's nothing to it at this point. So I agree with that. The Bayley Io Sky, I think they've done a great job building that. But again, in the midst of it, match placement is gonna be very key for this match.
Every match on this show is going to be important to keep the crowd vested into night 2.
Right.
So night 1 has their work cut for them, especially if you go after The Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth.
That match, man, that match is gonna be. It's gonna suck the life out of whatever follows it.
Yeah, but I believe that's probably. I think what match would follow it. Obviously, it would be Rhea versus Becky. Or no, I'm sorry. No, it would be Bayley. Bayley is the one who won the
Royal Rumble,
the Women's Rumble. So it would be Bayley. Yeah. Would be Bayley and Io in a main event of WrestleMania night 1.
Right. Here's my issue with that, though. Think back to Rock Hogan. What match followed Rock Hogan?
Shit. Wasn't it the fatal 4-way tag match, tornado tag match, or was it a women's match?
It was a women's match.
Okay. Yeah.
It was a triple threat. It was Lita, Trish, and Jazz.
Correct.
Phenomenal match. No one gives a fuck about it because it followed Rock Hogan.
Well, and they knew that because that's why they placed it there. It was supposed to be a match to bring the audience back down.
Right. I think it's one of the best WrestleMania women's matches ever.
Well, I agree. And it was all because of Jazz, knew how to work.
Yeah. But no one really remembers that match, and I don't want one of these women's matches to fall victim to that.
It's gonna fall victim to it.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It probably will.
Yeah, it's gonna fall victim to it because there's just no way in hell that it can't. Because there's so much going on here with. Look, people are there to see the tag match.
It brought them to the dance.
That's exactly. The WrestleMania sells itself, but they really want to see that match. I think. I mean, if it was me, honestly, dude, this is. Oh my god, this is gonna come off so bad. But I don't really give a shit. Once the tag match is over, I'm leaving WrestleMania. I'm going home, or not even home. I'm going back to the hotel room. I'll be back tomorrow night at night too, because I have nothing further to watch.
I mean,
That's
it
just me though.
sounds terrible. It sounds terrible, but
It's terrible, but it's legit. It's true.
yeah, you might be right though.
I'm beating the traffic out the damn stadium. I can watch this match I can watch it at home. You know, I can watch it on Peacock, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the match that follows it is gonna suffer, unless that shit is an all timer. You know what I'm saying? Like they've dotted every I, crossed every T, and they told one hell of a story in that.
I think Bailey and Io can pull it off, but it's just going to be the death spot. Because it's like, is this really a WrestleMania caliber main event? Bailey versus Io Sky?
By default, and hear me out, just because they won the Rumble, like I feel like it should be. But if we're really talking the main event, that main event is Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth. That's the main event. That's the attraction.
I think, listen, they have a built-in story here with Damage Control and Bailey. You know, it was her creation. But I think honestly, the bigger drawing match to me would have been Bailey versus Rhea Ripley, and you could have put Io in there against a Becky Lynch. That would have been the scenario for me.
Yeah, but I don't think they have much faith in that.
I don't think they have a lot of faith in any of the women, to be honest. They can try to perpetrate and act like they do, but I don't think so. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't think they have much faith in that. But I think you may be right. But yeah, it's the main event night one, because I think in some capacity they even alluded to like Cody main event both nights of Mania, like without trying. And I'm like, well,
so that kind of makes me wonder if the tag match is actually going to be the main event.
It might be.
And they can change the scenario here and say, oh, well, you won the Royal Rumble, but your match is not the main event match at WrestleMania. Listen, and this, once again, this is going to sound so terrible, but it's the truth. That is not a main event match. People don't give a shit. Let's keep it 1,000. They don't give a shit. Yeah. They only care. They want to see the tag match, and that sucks ass for Bailey and Io. And I know it sounds terrible, and it's
But I think they've actually done a really good job building this up. Okay.
They can do a good job building it up, but it's a main event WrestleMania match. Absolutely
it's not.
It's not. You can say it's a double main event, which would be. I mean, well, CM Punk said, you're either the main event or you're not.
Right.
So. Right. I don't know. They got they're in a bad spot. Either way it goes, any match that comes after that tag match, they're in a bad spot.
They are in a terrible spot. Yeah. What if they opened up WrestleMania with that shit?
And see, that's another thing I thought about. They could do that because I remember when at WrestleMania, I believe 25, or was it 27? I think WrestleMania 27. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
But I remember Taker and Trips?
No, I'm talking about shit. I forgot which WrestleMania it was, but it was Edge versus Alberto Del Rio for the world title. And it was the first match on the card. It was the first match they did. I forgot what WrestleMania was. I'm going to forget if it was WrestleMania 27 or 28. I don't know. It was whichever one was in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. That's what I'm referring to. But it was kind of like it was Edge came out there. It was the match. It was the same night that Rey Mysterio wrestled Cody Rhodes, the Undashing. Cody Rhodes. When he had the mask on. Forgot which WrestleMania it was though. But anyways, um, basically, matter of fact, the main event of that show was the Miz versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. The Rock was actually the host of WrestleMania that year.
Oh, it's 27.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured, 27. So, they put the World Title match on first, and they ended the show with the WWE Championship. So I'm kind of wondering, are they going to pull that? What you just said, they're going to say, okay, we're going to start the night off with Io versus Bayley, or we start the night off with a tag match.
Right.
They could do that too.
They could.
But if you start the night off with a tag match, now I'm really going home.
I think you could start it with that because you're going to start hot. And if you start hot, you can keep promoting that throughout the show.
Yeah, and it basically tells you that there's nothing else on the show to see.
Right.
That's what I get from that.
Well, if you do that, because again, match placement is going to be really important for night one. I think you could build to a main event if you're not going to do the tag match as the main event. I think you could build to a good main event if you start with the tag match. But that's just going to be incredible. You have to walk a fine line.
Yeah.
A very fine line. So it's just dependent, but I think they could get there. Night two, you already know what
night two is gonna be stacked.
Night 2 is gonna be the night.
Yeah, night 2 is gonna be stacked. And I think the top 3 matches on that card are gonna obviously be Becky versus Rhea. You got Becky versus Rhea. You got Becky versus Rhea, I should say. You have Seth versus Drew with CM Punk commentary. Punk might get involved there. Yep. And you also have Cody versus Roman Reigns.
Yep.
So you got 3 built-in matches there. That's why I'm saying WrestleMania Night 2 is going to be stacked. WrestleMania Night 1 is important, but only because of the tag match. That's going to tell the story further into WrestleMania Part 2. And I think we're going to get the real story come WrestleMania Backlash.
Yep. I agree with that. All right, man. Final thoughts. What you got?
Final thoughts are we are definitely going to see some major happenings at WrestleMania. And it's been fun on this podcast predicting what we think is going to happen. He's playing, fantasy booker, which is what, we like doing here. So I just say, let's just wait it out and see. I mean, we got some stuff happening here with The Rock. That's going to be very telling as far as where he goes. Is he going to remain a heel, or is he going to go back being a babyface? I personally think the best choice for The Rock right now is to remain heel. Babyface Rock in 2024 just don't work. It don't have it. And I think he realized.
And I think him seeing that flipping the switch was smart as shit.
Yeah, he realizes this shit. So, other than that, man, I got nothing else. It's going to be very interesting to see where we go with this, and once again, help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered, and especially if you're here in the state of Texas, watch out for rattlesnakes because the snakes are out. So, watch out for that, and watch out for the snakes that are in your office, and watch out for the snakes that you talk to that might stab you in the back and shit like that. Just watch out for the snakes. And what else do I got here? Oh yeah, long live the Empire.
We'll see about that. But shout out to everybody on the network. Shout out to the Queens of Nerdum. Fallen Star Fridays are a hit. Shout out to the Smoke Pit and my partner in crime over there, Makk, aka your boy. He had a solo show since I was traveling. So shout out to him. Make sure you guys tap into that and then come back, hang out with us this Friday. Shout out to USDN. And actually met up with Jeff while I was in VA. Didn't get to meet up with Matt because he was doing his first art and shit. And I was busy moving my daughter in. But Virginia is a nice little hub, and I will be seeing myself there at least once quarterly. So shout out to the team. Almost everybody else is in Virginia. It's just us two that are in the state of Texas. So,
because it's better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But
they got some weird shit in Virginia.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, the fuck they do. But I will be visiting my daughter as much as I can, and those guys are close, so we'll be seeing a lot more of each other. And but yeah, shout out to everybody, and good show today, my friend. Good show.
Yeah, I'm going to give a couple of shout outs here real quick. Just some people I wanted to thank. I wanted to thank Emperor Palpatine. I wanted to thank Count Dooku and Darth Maul. Want to send a special shout out to Darth Bane. Darth Nihilus.
Continuance of the Empire.
I want to send that. I want to send a special shout out to the homie Thrawn.
Master strategist, huh?
Yeah, some shout out to all that. And I want to send a special shout out to the Dark Lord himself, Darth Vader. Keep it up, man. Stay up, homie. And
shout out to you, Cody.
That's pretty much it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Long live the Empire.
But that's it, man. That's all I got. If you got nothing else, I got nothing else.
No, that's it, man. Just say like what you like, and if they don't like it, don't give a fuck.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, tune in to the No Gimmicks podcast, and peace.
And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks. Yeah. And I know it's all business, all business, all business. We give them no gimmicks.